What is going on? I'm zmoT, and we are going to do some warships and then hopefully some operation attacks. Warships this season, I feel like I've been chasing the meta more than actually playing. I've been like, oh, tomorrow I'll have 100% GBE, so it'll be more playable, and then it just doesn't get there. But I think I'm almost there. Yesterday, I started to figure out how to get Zookas defibbed, and I was like defibbing them for the back engine room, and then people were beating me with Scorchers. And Scorchers are very much the viable option right now if you have that boost and you have 250% GBE, and if you have Rudero, and if you have switched to the deployable turrets, and if you have the sky shields, and if. There's all sorts of ands at the moment. But have managed to get some decent time with Scorchers, so I'm going to show you some tips. And it feels like yesterday I told everyone to go Scorchers in Discord and Telegram, and now there's a bunch of people using them, and other videos are out, and I don't have the answers. So I'm going to just assume I don't have the answers, and I'll show you some things, and you guys can make good from them and screw them up and all of the rest of it. So Scorchers are very, very, very strong. You don't have to worry about flotsams. You don't have to worry about grabblers. You just send them on their merry way, and they do some gosh darn good things. So for this this far left-hand ramp, I'm going to swap out and put a couple boats of Rainmakers in, just so I don't have to think about that side at all. Getting over there might be a bit of a problem. We're going to send Rudero over there, and then we're just going to drop all this stuff. And the crazy thing about Rudero is he's just going to run rampant through all of those things. Probably not going to die. We waited a second or two to hit his bombing run because I don't want him to get too stuck in things. And we can't really use our turrets on this one because our turrets are going to do, they're not really going to distract anything for long enough, but we should still be able to, like drop one of these over here because I think we just had a Scorcher explode. Maybe that was an engine room, though. Tough to keep track of things, and we're just going to go. Like, on this right-hand side, or left-hand side, those things are going. We're going to get a shock in here. We're going to get all of the rest of these guys going. And then 1, 2, 3, and then, you know what, let's just throw a flare onto there, because that should get rid of that. And we are going to get a time of approximately 3 minutes and 3 seconds. Kind of just chucking things out there and not really having a plan. So on that left-hand side, I think that using the Rainmakers did work fairly well, and we won by 33 seconds. I think my fastest time with Scorchers on a 7 is like 3 minutes and 6 seconds, but people are getting 3 minutes and 9 seconds. I just need to remember to swap out the Rainmakers because Rainmakers typically are not a great option, and I don't know that I'll finish the tech tree this season, but I'd like to get to 23 eventually. But again, this one just looks like Rainmaker heaven. So maybe I do that again. I think I'm just going to send all of my Scorchers to the right. They'll all get pulled in there. And just need to see if I can hide. Yeah, should be able to hide one of these things in that back corner, which should distract that shock launcher and should be able to stay alive. So let's get 2 of you over into somewhere. Let's look at you. Let's send you right about there, out of the range of the boom cannon. Then we're just going to send all of this stuff on this right-hand side, getting rid of you. Let's throw you back into there, and then you guys just go. Go, 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 go. We'll get rid of that. We'll throw this somewhere back in there just to see how that's going to work out. And then our good friend Rudero is just going to run rampant through all of that stuff. We've got these guys going over here. They're going to get rid of that engine room. These guys are going to shock back here. Rudero's going to keep running through that engine room. And is this pretty? Not really, but you know what? It's going to be gosh darned effective because these guys on this left-hand side are doing a good job. These guys on this right-hand side are doing a good job. And then just, you know what? Let's get a flare onto there because these guys can't reach that and we don't have to give a crud about them as we get all of our artillery onto there. Getting that engine room, And then let's just throw all of our artillery right about here, and then those things are going to get that, and that's going to get that, and with zero real skill or coordination or planning, we've got a 252, which is going to be pretty good against the average player, and against Scorcher players, you're going to get wrecked, but our Flotsams are doing a halfway decent job. Look at this, they're going to lose all their critters because they weren't super careful, and yes, you can work around that using the crystal shield projector, but it just feels like you have to be a little bit more precise with critter launchers, and with Scorchers, you don't have to be precise at all. I think, like, even on an attack where I completely and utterly screw up, I get it like a 248. So if you're just frustrated with like Flotsams and shock mines and shock launchers and all the rest of it, do consider switching off of critters and switching onto the turrets to distract shock launchers, because as you saw there, they just distract for like the entire battle. Like you can just write off a shock launcher with one of those turrets, and with Scorchers, you just don't lose troops. So if you don't have instant training, they're a great option. And Rainmakers, I think that mixing Rainmakers in is the way to go, because you end up being able to flare into the back corners, and you can't flare into the back corners if you're using all Scorchers. So that's what I'm going to work on a little bit here is, you can see here we've got a little spot right about on that line right there. Let's just do a little drawing there. You see that line right there? That is what I'm going to use for my point of reference. And you can see that if we drop a Scorcher, two Rainmakers on that line, like right about there, we should be in good shape. And then we're just going to send all of this stuff over here. We're going to get rid of that. We're going to drop you right about there because that's not going to do any good for them at all. And then slowly but surely clear a couple of these things. And notice that that shock launcher is doing absolutely nothing for them right now. So yes, we will need to throw a shock about there to stop that shock launcher, and I said it wasn't doing anything, and then it did a little bit. It didn't do a heck of a lot of good, but it did something. And these guys are doing great over here. Let's get a speed serum over there just to speed that up a little bit as well. And now we've got a couple Scorchers starting to go in the wrong direction, so we're going to send them back over into there. These guys are going, and I did not account for that shock launcher back there, so we are having a rough time at the second, and we're still going to be, like I said, like 248 at the very, very worst. We ended up with a 258 at the very, very worst, as I hope they're okay. As the ambulance goes by, picking up another win just by burning it to the ground. So, a couple of little things there. Obviously, do click on the boom cannons to figure out where to drop your Rainmakers. You guys know all this. Try and find a spot where you can drop your turrets, where the shock launchers will see them, and they'll distract the shock launchers, but there's no boom cannons anywhere terribly close, and my base is terrible for that. Sure, the Flotsam will do a little bit of damage, but people get 3 minutes and 9 seconds. And look, I am going to need a sky shield at some point, but doom cannons, grapplers, critter launchers, there's lots and lots of other tech that's calling my name first, and this base, that Grappler is going to help us a little bit. If anything, going to pull some things into that left-hand side engine room. So although some people are dropping like one boat of clones with like one boat of Zukas for this P3 style ramp, I am not doing that yet. We are going to send 7 boats. Let's send 7 boats all the way back there. Just get them the heck out of Dodge as we throw you into there. Did I throw it? Yes, I did. And then you guys just get a move on, and Rudero, and that should do a decent job for us getting the bulk of our troops back in there. Not going to use a speed serum anywhere close to the left-hand side. Shouldn't need that, or the right-hand side, just on the bulk of our stuff. And then, again, we're going to get, you know what, it's time for that speed serum. I said it wasn't going to do it, but then I very much went and did it, as I think it's Connor Price went and said, So now we just need these guys to get a move on downwards. Go downwards, my friends. And you know what? Let's get something on there as well. And then all of the artillery right about there. And we got a 3-minute 4-second. And I am still very much learning how to use Scorchers and Rudero. And you guys can definitely do better, and you probably have a better base. So hopefully this has inspired you a little bit, or at least shown you things that you've already known. And the thing it's shown me is that I need to build a new base. This base is just so outdated. Does it stop critter launchers? Oh yeah, critter launchers get absolutely trashed, but critter launchers are so yesterday. Flotsams definitely changed the meta a little bit, and good players don't care about Flotsams because they throw the crystal shield projector, but with enough damage around it from shock launchers and machine guns and stuff, the crystal shield projector is not perfect. And by the way, Tick 4 is the general consensus for that, and for your remote defib, you want to make sure that you can do a bunch of housing spaces, because obviously a Scorcher does use housing spaces of 14, so you need, I think it's Tick 3 to get a Scorcher back, and it's just so rare that a Scorcher actually dies though. So I think I've count like on one hand the number of times I've used the remote defib to bring back a Scorcher. Anyways, I've considered not submitting. I just feel like because I'm not super inspired or in touch, I'm not publishing my videos, so I'm just gonna publish this anyways, and if it sucks, it sucks. Hopefully it does help someone out there, and I don't feel like I'm gonna be in the global top 500 this season, which will be the first season in a while that I haven't been up there, but it just feels like I never have the right tech, which is on me as much as anything. So anyways, that's it. I'm zmoT. Code zmoT in that shop. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for coming in. Peace.